success is to and that reading is keep educating yourself. Number 3, they listen to audio teachings. I don't know if you guys like listen to, different podcasts and things like that. So, you can develop a habit of doing that for, she said 21 days start if you haven't done that. The 4th one is you write down your goals and dreams. And I know we briefly talked about that once here. And Tony Robbins says setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible to the visible. And number 5, I've talked about this before, is they exercise. So it's she says the most successful people consider exercise integral to their overall achievements. So those are morning routines you guys can incorporate. If not, that's okay. So I'm sure we all have some of those. We do. So, okay, guys, with that said, I am going to turn it now to our general evaluator, Winnie Gao. Winnie?
Fellow Toastmaster, I'd like to call my team and they can share their roles. I will start with Tamara. Brent, can you tell your role? Thank you.
Well, the hallmark of an effective speaker is the ability to express themselves within a specified amount of time. Concerning this, I will be timing everybody's speech as well as table topic speeches overall with the Toastmasters app. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Our next one is I will call grammarian friend. Can you tell us your role and the word of the day?
Absolutely. Thank you, Winnie. I am the grammarian for the day. I have put the word of the day into the chat and I actually chose 3, but they are all synonyms for routine. I was basing this off of our theme for the day. You can use run-of-the-mill, garden variety, or cut and dried, which are all adjectives, and they all mean being of the type that is encountered in the normal course of events, which is routine. It's just a way to spice up our language, make it a little bit more flowery. Instead of saying the routine thing, you can say run-of-the-mill, garden variety, or cut and dried. I will be paying attention and seeing who uses one of those words of the day and giving you a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, friend. Our next team member is R Counter, Joey.
Thank you, Winnie. This is the fun one, the very run-of-the-mill of Toastmaster meetings, and one thing that a lot of the guests will remember long after, whether they join or not, this is the counter. Are just a couple of the words that we use to fill space when we feel a little bit awkward or not knowing what to say next. We use these filler words. Some could be like a lot. It's something that you would repeat. It becomes, with the counter will point out the things that are more consistent that you use to fill that space, and it becomes pretty apparent. So trying to work those things out of the speech doesn't just stop at our Toastmaster meetings, but also practicing them at home in everyday speech, whether that's with your significant other, whether that's with friends or family, but to really work on it almost 24/7 when you're talking and communicating. And so I will be keeping track of what you're consistent at using as a crutch word. And also, by the way, if you're good at getting the crutch words out, sometimes we hear little things like tisks, something like that, or other things that maybe aren't words, but are maybe noises or whatnot. So I'll be listening for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. Now I return control to our Toastmaster, Sonia.
Thank you, Winnie. Good job. So today I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Denny Mason. Denny Mason has been a professional photographer for more than 30 years and a member of Fresno City Toastmasters for over 5 years. So today, Denny will share with us her Inspiration from the perfect moment, something she uses over and over to get inspired. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Denny. Thank you, Denny.
Hi, everyone. When my husband and I were first married, we took a trip to Canada to go visit Banff, which is beautiful. We're driving on the highway. There's beautiful trees along the road. We even saw a live wolf off the side of the road, very magical. The snow started coming down and it was getting colder and colder, but so beautiful from inside the car. We wanted to get maybe a little something to eat, and off the side of the road, we saw this stone building that had a little bit of smoke coming out of the fireplace, the chimney at the top. It just looked so inviting. So we turned around, came back, parked, and went inside, and there was this magical place. We walked in, it was like going into a storybook. I went up and ordered my coffee, and then I looked in the back, and there was this big fireplace back there, cushioned chairs, a nice coffee table. I went back there with my coffee, and I just felt like it was a perfect moment. And I just enjoyed it. I reached out at the coffee table to look at the books that were there, and there was a book of quotes. So I started reading through some of them, and I found one that I have kept. I hand wrote it because back then we didn't have a cell phone like we do now that I could just take a picture of it. I hand wrote it out and I kept it in my desk, and I've looked at that over and over again. And I'm going to read it to you. It's from Martha Graham, who was an American dancer. She lived to be 94, and she danced 70 of those years, changed the landscape of dance altogether. But she was a very motivational speaker. She said, and this really touched me. She said, there's a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And there is only one of you in all time. This expression is unique, and if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and be lost forever. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how it compares with other expression. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep open and aware directly to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There is no satisfaction whatever at any time. There is only a queer divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching. I love that. That inspires me. I have other things that inspire me all the way around. So inspiration equals to me excitement, passion, emotion, all the things that feel so wonderful. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what it feels like when you're inspired. And you also know what it feels like when you're not motivated, where you're just, when is it going to happen? I don't have the energy. You know the difference. And it feels good to be inspired. Don't you agree? To me, it feels fantastic. It's almost like being in love. It might even be like being in love. That's inspirational as well. You know when it's there, you know when it's not, but it's very elusive. It's something you can't touch. You can't touch it like my cup. It's there, you feel it, but you can't control it. You can't do anything to just reach out and get it or set it down. It sort of comes and it goes, but we want it when it's there. So I have a few things that I do to stay motivated and keep inspiration going. First of all, I'm very aware that inspiration is elusive. It comes and it goes. It doesn't stay for any prolonged period of time. So I have to use it when it's there. Very important. The other thing is I'm always looking. I'm looking for things all the time. I have a beautiful ribbon I saw it one time in a store and I just asked if I could cut a little piece off. It's the most beautiful color I ever saw. So I took that ribbon and I tied it on the ashtray in my car, and that's where it sits all the time because it's the most beautiful color I ever saw. I'm always looking for things that inspire me. To do what? I don't know. Just they lift my spirits. The other thing I'm very aware of is that it's super easy to dismiss it and miss it. The other day I was driving home from Toll House at sunset. It was so beautiful. And I went by this oak tree that doesn't have any leaves on it anymore. It was just a silhouette against the sunset. It was so beautiful. The first thing I say is, oh, that's gorgeous. I need to photograph that. The next thing that happens in my mind is, okay, you're driving on a 2-lane road. Just forget it. You'll get it next time. There's no next time. If I dismiss it right now, it's gone. So I argue with myself a little bit, but then I know, okay, stop, turn the car around. Yes, let all the cars go by. Yes, you're going to get home a little bit late. And I turn around and go back and park the car in front of the oak tree, take the beautiful picture. And then I can go, okay, inspiration spoke to me and I listened this one time. I don't always, but every time I do, it's rewarding. Every time I do. I liken inspiration very much to a puzzle. Chanel, you'll appreciate this. She's a puzzle girl. All the pieces fall out of the box. And you're looking at all these pieces that don't make any sense. That's what it feels like when we don't have any inspiration. Everything looks kind of chaotic and how are we going to make it turn into a picture? Little by little, we have to start looking. We look for colors that match each other, look for pieces of order, things that are going to look right together, find the spaces that fit together. And it takes a lot of effort. There's that one piece you can never find. It's frustrating. You have to walk away. You have to come back. But eventually, when you get that last piece, you feel the cardboard go in like this. And it's rewarding. It's so rewarding to finish that puzzle. And then you have to start another one. It goes in a cycle. So just to repeat, start looking. Look for inspiration. Know that it's not going to be there forever. It's a cyclic thing. So if you're not feeling it right now, you have to go out and find things that motivate you. When you see it, pay attention to it. Don't miss it. Don't dismiss it, or it's gone. And third, when you do find it, enjoy it just in that moment. Enjoy it, relish it, remember it. That moment when I was in Canada reading that poem, I remember that even now, so many years later, and it inspires me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Denny. Oh my goodness. I was just like so like got in a trance because I'm just listening to you and listening to you. And even when you finish, I'm like, wait, say some more. I loved it. Thank you, Denny. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to introduce Miss Sarah Dawson. Sarah is working on her second speech for the Visionary Communication Pathway. She is the executive director of Evangel Home, a homeless shelter for women and children, where she has many adventures. She recently gave a speech on her adventures. Her second speech is entitled, The Adventure Continues. Give a big round of applause to Miss Sarah Dawson. Take it away.
Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate that lovely introduction. So like it said in the introduction, I recently gave a speech on some of the adventures in my life. And the adventure really continues. There's so many different things. And I would guess that for most of you in this past year, it's been a real adventure, because the definition of adventure is engaging in a hazardous and exciting activity, especially the exploration of unknown territory. And like I said last time, adventure is very different to each person out there. What is an adventure for one person is not necessarily an adventure for another person. So it can be completely different for whoever it happens to be. And the other thing that's really important to know about adventure is that just because it's an adventure and it's exciting doesn't mean that you're not going to be afraid and fearful during that time. I love adventures because they cause me to learn and grow as a human and grow closer to God. It is exciting for me to face the unknown and see what else is out there. Last time I shared stories about travel, new experiences, and how bringing others on these adventures encouraged learning about God, myself, and others. This time, I want to continue that story and share with you how my love for adventure and growth has allowed me to grow at my job in this last year of extreme challenge. Like was also said, I am the executive director of a homeless shelter for women and children. This last year has been a real adventure in the midst of lots of change. We've had to close programs. Some of our staff that have been around for many, many years had to leave for health reasons and other different things. So it has been a massive change, like everybody else has experienced this year. And as a leader of an organization, that is really, really challenging. And you're left in this constant state of chaos and unknown and what's going to be happening. And you feel totally responsible for all these other people because you're leading and they look to you for that. The comfort I took in making this decision is that I knew that God had made me for a time like this. He had given me this heart of adventure because that's the way he just created me that way. And a lot of times when other people are discouraged and down and looking at this, I felt a little guilty for thinking this is kind of exciting because it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity to overcome and to see it in a completely different way. And so I think even having that attitude, it encouraged lots of other people. I think I might have mentioned last time that I used to be a flight attendant. And a lot of times when you would just have a great attitude about the turbulence that was happening, I'd be just happy going up and down the aisle and talking with people in the midst of turbulence. And you could see that they're clenching their, what do they call those things? The armrests, that's what they're called. They're clenching their armrests like right next to them, and you could tell they're just tense. And so you just help them breathe, and they're like, what? They wonder, why are you so happy? And you can just tell them, well, it's kind of, I just imagine I'm out on a boat and just skipping across the top of the waves. And to me, it was fun and adventurous just to be a little bit bumpy, and that planes were made for that. They were made to go up and down in the skies. They're meant to go up and down with the turbulence, and it would be worse if they didn't go with it because it might shear it off. And so it was meant to kind of flex with the times. So I see that as the way that God has made me as well, is to kind of go up and down with the times and grow. One of the things that I think there's probably 3 things that I really learned over this last year. Part of it, I think I had already believed, but I grew a lot more just being able to experience this. One is I've grown in perspective, I've grown in leadership, and the ability to think outside the box. So the way I grew in perspective, a lot of times we see, an adventure is hazardous by definition, it is a hazard, but it's also exciting. One of my very favorite verses in the Bible is in Hebrews 12, and it talks about, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. And it's talking about Jesus and saying that he knew that this pain that he was going to be experiencing by, sacrificing himself on the cross for all of us, it was super painful, but he endured all of that because his perspective was at the end, the joy that he knew that would come to all of us because he made us in a right relationship with God. And so that's kind of just the perspective that I have. It's like, no matter what the challenges that we're facing, that we are going to be able to get through it because he has given us that strength and that courage, and we can just have joy in the midst of it. I've been able to have that joy. I've also been able to learn that, like I said before, it's not without, there were days that I wanted to cry. And I mean, if you're facing something that is hazardous, it is difficult and it is challenging, but I've just learned that he loves to protect those he loves, and how gracious he is with so many things. Like, and it's not anything that I could ever do to earn it. That's something that's been a challenge for me personally, is that I always thought if I'm just good enough, then he'll love me more. And I learned over this year, it's like he gives me favor just because he's good. So I've learned to grow in perspective. I have grown in my as a leader and learning to be more direct with people. So I tend to have a laissez-faire kind of attitude and approach to parent. Well, I was only a parent for 2 years with an exchange student, but I was kind of like, I trust you to make your decisions, just go for it. And I've learned that people in the midst of chaos, they like to just be told exactly what to do and they'll do it. And that was really hard for me because I'm like, I trust you, just go for it. I want to hear your ideas, and like, just tell us what to do. I'm like, okay. So I've learned to put that part of me aside and just be able to give very clear and direct not orders, but directions on what to do next and how to overcome. And the third thing was growing in the ability to think outside the box. When you're faced with a challenge like this, it's almost necessary that you have to think of how to do things differently and find a way to adapt and to overcome. One of the things that was so much fun for me was adapting our fundraiser, because usually we have about 400 people at a fundraising dinner. And this year we weren't going to be able to gather that. So how do we adapt that? So we ended up doing a live stream, and normally one of the things we like to do is have a meal together. And so we were able to be able to delegate and send out meals to all people. So there was about 100 people that we delivered meals to that evening, so that we could all share in the meal together at the same time, and then have a little bit of the presentation about, our fundraiser and like who we are as a people. So I think this is part of the why God created me with this heart of adventure, is so that I could be right where I am today. And it's exciting. It's not without its stressful times or anything like that, but it helps us to grow and learn. And I have done that this year, and it's been so exciting. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Great speech. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Okay, so next we will turn it to, do we have a table topics master?
It's me, Chanel.
Okay, Chanel. Okay, Chanel. So we're going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. And thank you, Denny and Sarah, for those awesome speeches. I'm the table topics master today. So for our guests, table topics is the time of Toastmasters when we get to practice our extemporaneous or spontaneous speaking. The table topics usually are based off of the theme of the day, which today is morning routines. So I have 3 different questions for you guys, which I am posting in the chat. You can choose to answer one of the questions, you can choose to answer 2 of them, or you can choose to answer all 3 if you have an answer that fits. So our questions are, number 1, what is a morning routine you currently have and why does it work for you? Number 2, what is a morning routine you don't currently practice but would like to implement? And number 3, what is a morning routine that people say you should have, but it doesn't work for you? On the last one, I'm thinking of those of us who might not be morning people and have heard all of our lives that we should be doing certain things every morning, but can't seem to make it work. So feel free to share about that as well. I'm going to do something a little bit differently today in terms of table topics. I have a hat here, and I put all of your names in it. Aside from our guests, I'll give you guys a chance to answer at the end if you want to. I won't put you on the spot. I considered taking Denny and Sarah's names out since you guys just gave a speech, but I thought they'll be fine if they have to say something again. You guys are pros. So I'm just going to randomly choose a name out of here. Guys, be ready. I put my own name in here too, so it's somewhat fair. I could choose my own name. And whoever I pick will get to speak. All right, Miss Denny, I chose your name. Are you still there? Oh, you are still there. You're on mute though.
I'm sitting now.
Okay. So which question would you like to answer?
I'll go for number 1. I have a morning routine and it revolves around dogs. My dogs love carrots. And every morning at 4:45, my oldest dog wakes me up. And I have to go in the kitchen and cut up carrots for everybody. And I have more than one dog and a couple of puppies also. Everybody gets carrots. Then I empty the dishwasher. Then I have my cup of coffee, all those things. And what I realize is that routine is the time when I can be completely in my head. It's quiet time, but my hands are busy at the same time. So it's not wasted time. I'm doing something useful and I can process my thoughts. And it's too early for anyone else to be up talking to me, which I like.
Thank you. Good thoughts. You have really healthy dogs who beg for carrots. Wow, that's impressive. I would like to know how to train my dog that way.
It sounds like she has bunny rabbits.
All right. Name number 2, Sonia. Which question would you like to answer?
I'll take the first one, which is, I don't know. What was that question? Number 1?
Oh, it's in the chat. What is a morning routine you currently have and why does it work for you?
My morning routine consists of after I get up and I, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth and all of that stuff, I pray. I read my Bible scriptures and I pray. And I start doing that because when I was growing up, I did not have a relationship with God. When I was growing up, there was no Bible in my home. There's no relationship with God. I had an abusive childhood. It was traumatic. So, I've developed that and it's peaceful for me. And the second thing I do is I will go for my walk or work out. So those 2 things I definitely have to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Those are great habits to have.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3. I'm drawing all the board members here. Joey.
Thank you, Chanel. So my morning routine, I think about it like my wife used to work at World Sports, I think is what it was before it went out of business. At a restaurant, you had, because there were many times that I was waiting for her to get off so we could go out. And I'd have to wait until everybody cleaned, or she had to clean up at least her station and get everything all finished up. And that was my first introduction into the restaurant business and how the night crew got everything ready for the morning crews. The morning crew didn't have to come in and clean everything up before customers were coming in. So I think about my morning routine with the kiddos. We got 2 young ones. We got an 8 and soon to be 5-year-old, and that can be chaotic in the morning. There's a lot of randomness to different things coming in, running in and waking you up early or whatnot. And what helps me to think in terms of the restaurant business is at night to get everything as much ready as I can for the morning, because the morning we got to get the kids ready for school. We got to be places. We got to take them to school. We got to do different things. And we got to be home. Sometimes we have a house cleaner that's coming, a landscaper that's coming, a pest guy that's coming. So we got to get the house all ready. So I try and get everything done the night before, clean the slate. And then the next morning, put away anything in the dishes. We wash dishes. We put them in the dishwasher and let them dry. And we put them away in the morning. And I try and put away the ones from earlier in the day. And basically try to clean the slate and get the day ready. And that's not only a physical thing to just get work out of the way and cleanliness and organization, but it's more for my own brain. I think like what Denny was saying, where you're doing things, you're not thinking, but you are physically doing things. And I think it's a way for me to take that Etch-a-Sketch and you shake it after you've done all this drawing on it to clean it completely so that now we're ready to go and take on anything that has to do with the rest of the day. So that's my routine, night and the day.
Good illustration. Thank you.
Joey.
Thank you.
All right, number 4. Winnie, tell us something about your morning routines.
Thank you, Chanel. I like this question. I would like to answer the first one. My morning routine is from 7 o'clock. From this year, everything changed. Everybody's at home. Kids had online class. So every morning, 7 o'clock, when my kids woke up, I woke up. So I will teach my older son to learning Chinese, maybe half an hour, then cooking something. Then every day morning, maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, I have a meeting with another Toastmaster, Jason. We have a everyday morning conversation. It has been 4 months. Every morning we practice English, reading, pronunciation. So I think these 4 months I joined the Toastmaster, my English already been improved a lot. My English speaking skills, listening skills, it's improved a lot. So this is my morning routine. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Winnie. Yes, I think we would all agree you are doing very well and so diligent with your studying. Okay, we have time for a couple more. Okay, Brent, tell us something about your morning routine.
Thank you, Chanel. Well, I'm an early riser. That's one thing that I feel like Joey and the rest, you get up early and you can clear your mind as well as get things done that you would like to do. So commonly I exercise, whether it be lift weights or run, and then start working on the computer until my family gets up. After that, we make sure my wife gets her breakfast as well as insulin. Since she's type 1 diabetic, that's very important. So with that being said, to reflect on the third topic that you insinuated of what else I should be doing in the morning is, like Sonia said, I should do a little prayer or reflect on the gifts that God has given me. So that is what my morning routines instill.
Thank you, Brent. I think we have time for at least one more. Maybe we'll get everybody. Oh, okay, I drew my own name. See, it's not rigged. I'm being honest over here. I am going to answer the third question because I actually posed that question specifically with myself in mind because I am not naturally a morning person. And I grew up, however, though, having the old adage from Benjamin Franklin, often quoted to me by my father, which is early to bed, early to rise makes a man or woman healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I believe that, and I understand all of the benefits of getting up early and having a solid morning routine. However, I've continually struggled to implement them consistently. So one thing that I have often been told, I'm a Christian as well, is that it's really beneficial to start the day off with prayer and scripture reading. But I have always struggled to implement that consistently. And at a certain point, I think a few years ago, as I came into adulthood, I finally reconciled with myself, okay, there's not any law that says you have to do this in the morning every day and that it has to be in the morning. So I, rather to try to fit with my own personality and what has worked better for me. That's something that I've chosen to implement at night before I go to bed. And I have an evening routine that for me is just as important, and I think just as helpful as my morning routine as well. And it includes my prayer and my scripture reading before I go to bed. So that's my answer to question number 3. And oh, okay, it's 12:45. So I will pass it back over to his general evaluator to introduce our speech evaluators for today. Thank you, everybody, for participating.
Thanks, Janelle. Great work.
Thank you. Now it's my time to report my team. Everyone is ready? Okay, I would like to call
ready.
grammarian.
We're actually going to do a speech evaluation,
Oh, yes.
evaluating Denny's speech. Good to go. All right, Denny, fantastic job on your speech today. Your lighting is always beautiful. We know this. Your eye contact, I really want to remark upon because it was perfect. You were looking straight at the camera. I tend to look at the people that are on my screen, or I look at myself on the screen, but I don't look up at the camera for that good eye contact. But you have it locked in and nailed down. So really, really good job on that. My one suggestion is to maybe pull back just a tiny bit, because I can see most of your hand gestures, but not everything. Sometimes it's too much off to the side, and I would just like to see a little bit more of your hand gestures because you do have really good ones. I love how you started off with a story. You brought us right in with a story. We didn't know where you were going with it, but it's a Denny Mason run-of-the-mill story, so we know it's going to be good. And again, your facial expressions, your hand gestures, your vocal variety, everything is awesome when you tell a story. For this specific task, I believe it was research and present. And so I would like to have seen a little bit more research done. You did have a quote and you did use personal experience. So I would say maybe one more additional research source, some other expert on inspiration, or perhaps a statistic, something that could have rounded it out nicely and just been a little bit more in line with what Toastmasters Pathway is asking you to do. But other than that, I think it was, again, a phenomenal speech. You seemed really comfortable. It's a topic that everyone can relate to. And yeah, I really dug it. Good job, Denny.
And then
Okay.
wait,
It's me?
general evaluator, right?
Yeah. Next
Joey.
is our counter. Joey, please give us a report, please.
Who's evaluating Sarah's speech?
I am.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
So Winnie, you'll introduce Sonia.
Oh, I need to, sorry.
That's okay.
It's different from the other Toastmasters, so
Okay.
I don't know that. Okay, next evaluator Sonia for Sarah's speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie. Thank you very much. Okay, so Sarah, I enjoyed this speech. I don't know if you were, you were sitting down or you were kind of nervous, because you sounded a little nervous, but I love how you gave a definition of adventure. You smiled. You talked about God and why you're doing the things that you're doing. And I love how you talked about those 3 things that you learned about growing in perspective, and you gave us a scripture for that. You're challenging. Your second one was leadership and how you needed to be more direct with people. So I love that. And thinking about outside the box, which is, I know, something that we all need to work on, improve. I know I need to do that, but I love that you touched on those things, and I see your passion and you were smiling, and I love that. I don't know, again, if you were sitting down, because I could barely barely see your hand gestures. But you know what? I loved it. I did not see anything that you can improve on except to like either stand so we can see those gestures. And I just loved everything about your speech, and I love how adventurous you are. And you have a passion for people. You're very caring. And so I just wanted you to know that. So, and that is all I have for you. Thank you.
All right, Winnie. So now you can go into the ones where you're going into.
Okay. I'd like to call grammarian. Brand, can you give us a report, please?
Thank you, Winnie. I only caught myself and Joey using run of the mill. Did I miss anybody else who used run of the mill, garden variety, or cut and dried? Nope. All right. Let's try to expand our vocabulary more next time, but this is a good warm up. Good job, you guys.
Next is R counter, Joey. Please give us a report.
Thank you, Winnie. Let me pull this up here. So Farron will go to the top. I caught Farron doing it, but she's really hard. She camouflages a lot of her. So there's a little and a little but she does well of she'll start it and then she'll transition right away. So you could barely hear it. And I was trying to be and pay attention to that. A couple ands that were questionable on transition seem more like a filler. Sonia, yours is the tisk. A couple of us are tisks, and it's just that, or it's that little pop sound that you make with the mouth. So a couple tisks, and maybe the other ones, two you-knows and one I tried to just keep track of ones that are more repetitive. Ones I tried to just let go some of the ones for everybody that were just done once or so. Sarah Dawson, awesome from Awesome Dawson Cookies. On this one, and were your two that you had. So you had four there, four for each. And then Winnie, I caught one pretty good. Brent, two that was it. Chanel, another tisker, got about 5 of those, but you're not alone. Denny, I caught, usually Denny is clean, and I caught a few tisks. I caught about 4. So Chanel, Denny, and Farron were, or not Farron, Sarah on the tisks were there. And then so Chanel, Denny, and Ty and Leah didn't go. So that's my report.
Thank you. Next is our Tamara, Brent.
All right. We did not have a run-of-the-mill meeting, so the first person that we timed, Sonia, the introduction speech about our morning routines was 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Denny, the prepared speech on what inspires us, was 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Sarah Dawson's The Adventure Continues was 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Moving on to Chanel, with her table topics introduction, she spoke for 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Denny's reply was 1 minute 1 second. Sonia, 1 minute 7 seconds. Joey, 1 minute 58 seconds. Winnie, 1:10. Myself, 1:06. Chanel finished up at 1:48. Looking at the evaluations, Farron evaluating Denny's speech was 1 minute 39 seconds, and Sonia evaluating Sarah's speech was 1 minute 45 seconds.
Thank you. Okay, now it's my general evaluation. Our meeting is really good, very smoothly. Everyone is very paying attention, and I love Denny's speech. Her speech very, her voice, her gesture, and her motion put together was very wonderful. She said it was a perfect moment. I really love that. Very let us to pay attention your speech. And Shara, her speech very inside and a very deep story. I loved your story. And Chanel and the friend are very good listener. They give every speaker very, very good effort method. And Chanel, I love Chanel's table topic. Her gave us the table topic, let us connect each other. We know each other more, what we do in the morning. That's really good table topic. I think our meeting was very good. Everything was wonderful. Everyone did a great job. Thank you. I will return to Toastmaster.
It's actually kind of going back to me as president. No worries.
Sure.
Yeah, great job on the meeting today, everybody. Excellent speeches. And I feel the same way. The meeting was very smooth and wonderful. Awesome table topics. So good job, everybody. I would like to give virtual stickers first to Denny and to Sarah for their speeches. Good job. And I also want to give some virtual stickers for some personal accomplishments. Chanel West ran a half marathon this weekend. Awesome job. And Winnie, for your diligence in learning English, practicing every day. I had no idea you were doing that. So awesome virtual sticker to you too as well. Let's see. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from any members or guests? Okay. Ty, can you remind me how you found us?
I believe I saw it was an advertisement in at Bitwise in the downstairs. I'm not sure if you previously met there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and it was last year when I saw it, and I actually signed up for the newsletter or the communication about that time. And this was kind of my boss who did this was like, you should try it because we were talking about it. So he's like, just go find out about it, and if you want to do it, I'll pay for it. So.
Well, sweet.
That's
awesome.
All right, yeah.
What did you think?
I was really intrigued by it. I actually would have loved to have participated in the morning routine thing because I have my own, but I thought it was very a well-ran meeting. I used to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I was a chancellor of my it's not really a fraternity, it was a business fraternity. We didn't have a house or anything. So I ran a lot of the meetings during that time, and I always enjoyed stuff like that. So
awesome.
But yeah, it's very intriguing.
We do have 4 minutes left. I can give you 2 minutes to do your table topics if you'd like. Tell us about your morning.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. My morning routine is very intentional. I wake up every morning, and the first thing I do is make my bed. I always feel like, if you make your bed, whatever happens throughout the day, you can come home and, you'll have a bed ready and waiting for you to lay down in. I keep a pillow next to my bed, and I practice my faith in the mornings. I like to actually get on my knees and whatever that might be. It might be affirmations. It might be some prayers that I've been saying since I was a small child. I also like to do some form of exercise, and currently I'm not really doing that in the mornings anymore because it's just too cold to go out in my garage. So I do it at night now. And then I, eat breakfast and drink some water, and that's basically my routines.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. You fit right in, so we hope to see you back.
I definitely will be here next Tuesday, and I'm not sure exactly how the fees work. Just let me know, and I'll get that taken care of.
Yeah, you'll be getting an email from Denise. I'll let her know that you attended today, and she's our membership coordinator. So she'll be reaching out to you with all of that.
Yeah, and just to give you just a quick down and dirty, Ty, is typically starting new, the fees can be anywhere between 60 and 70. They're prorated based on when you start. So our end of years, or the way we break them up, is 2 times a year, end of April, end of September. So it's 2 times a year. So depending on when you join, they're prorated. So the most they can be, I think, when you first start, could be 60 to 70 bucks. And then when we renew, normally they're $60, but because of this whole thing going on and funds are a little tight, we've discounted it $10 on our end. So we were doing 50, but we'll probably talk about that for this next round. But just to give you an idea, so you have an idea.
Sure, I appreciate that. Just let me know I'd like to pay for the year if I can, because my boss is going to pay for it. So, it's not really, just let me know what it is and he'll pay for it. No, thank you for having me today. And I've started to become very aware of my O's and Ums right now. So
I told you.
Yeah.
Casualty of being here.
Yeah.
All right, let's quickly fill out next week's agenda. The meeting theme is National Pizza Day. We're meeting on February 9th. Do we have a Toastmaster for that day?
Erin, did I schedule myself to speak next week?
No,
Nope.
you're speaking on the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to be?
What's the theme for next week?
National Pizza Day.
I'm not sure I have much to say, but if nobody else wants to take it, I will.
Thank you, Sarah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We have one speaker, Heather. Would anybody else like to speak next week?
Was Sonia on there or no?
Yeah,
I
she's-
was, but I'm not ready
Oh,
to
I
give
gotcha.
my speech yet.
Gotcha.
Anyone else like to give a speech? All right, that's
Are
fine.
you, I had a question, if you don't mind. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Is the speech supposed to be out National Pizza Day? Is that how that works?
Mm-mm.
No, so the Toastmaster would give the speech about National Pizza Day, but that's just kind of
Oh,
the
gotcha.
general thing for the meeting. Speeches go along a curriculum called Pathways. There are 11 different ones that you can choose from. So it just depends on where you are in your specific curriculum. And that's what you give a speech on.
But your first one would be an icebreaker, which is how we get to learn a little bit more about you. So that could be a chronological of your life. It could be zooming us into right now and just more of how we get to learn about you. So the theme you don't necessarily have to do a speech on the meeting theme.
Understood.
Cool. Table Topics Master for next week.
You can put me down for that one, Farron.
Joey. General Evaluator.
I can do general evaluator.
Thanks, Chanel. Grammarian.
I could do grammarian.
Thanks, Sonia. Counter.
I can do.
Thank you, Winnie. Timer. I think I'll put myself down for a timer next week, as well as Zoom Master, unless anybody wants the Zoom Master.
I don't mind doing it, Farron, so you don't
Okay.
have to do it every week.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put you down. And then evaluators one evaluator for Heather's speech. Denny? Awesome. Great. We're taken care of for next week's meeting. I just wanted to give a little plug to myself. I know we are out of time. I am hosting a yoga and meditation intention setting workshop. Starts today. It's going to go for 4 days, 45 minutes per day. Starts at 7 p.m. all of the nights. I'm going to send a link with our Toastmasters email to everybody. So that's just a heads up of what that is. It gives you an opportunity to do some yoga for yourself and then also witness some public speaking. I would not be a yoga teacher if I had not started with Toastmasters because I had such a big fear of talking in front of groups, and now I'm leading classes. So just a little testament to that. But yeah, I'll send an email out to the registration if you're interested.
Good work, Farron. You've come a long way.
Yeah, long way. Any other comments, questions, concerns before we close? All righty then, we'll see you guys next week. Thank
Have a
you
great
so
week,
much.
everybody.
See you all.
Too.
Bye.
Bye.